Yes, sir.
Right. So now I would like to show that example once again, and we will quickly finish it out. This is the example, right? Is my screen visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well.
Yes, sir.
You know, by the definition, you consider m of t as expectation of e raised to tx. Since the random variable is of continuous type, we are using integration instead of summation. Based on the definition of this mod x, we subdivided the integral as minus infinity to 0 and then 0 to infinity. Then, according to the definition of the mod x and the function, so we substituted the appropriate fx function, and then we integrated, we substituted the limits. After substituting and simplifying, we got this m of t as 1 over 1 minus t square, right? Till this you noted down in the last class, I think, right? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you put t as 0 here, you will get m of 0. What is the value of m of 0? 1 over 1 minus 0 square. Is it 1?
Yes, sir.
This is what the condition, one of the properties of MZF, which we learned in the last session. Say here m of 0 as 1. This property is verified. Now I want the mean from this. In order to get the mean, first I require m dash t. M dash t is equal to the d by dt of m of t. d by dt of m of t. Can you differentiate the m of t with respect to t? Derivative of 1 by 1 minus t square with respect to t.
Hello.
Seems that 1 by x differentiation, right? What is the derivative of 1 by x?
So minus 1 by x square.
Minus 1 by x square form, right? 1 minus t square whole square into derivative of the denominator, that is 1 minus t square with respect to t. What is that? Minus 2 times t, right? Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Now, what is the resulting answer? Simply minus, it is seems to be something like, so 2t by 1 minus t square, right? T by 1 minus t square, right? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then what is m of 0 here? M dash at 0?
0.
Is the mean of this function, mean of random variable capital X is equal to mean of capital X is, normally we used to denote with the mu, and this is equal to expectation of capital X and is equal to m dash 0, m dash 0. Right now this is equal to 0, right? It seems that mean is 0, Then what is the second moment mu2 expectation of x square, that is m double dash t, m double dash 0. Can you find out this second derivative of this m of t? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. You can
Yes,
find.
sir.
So now give me what is m double dash t? The simplified expression, you tell me. I'll note down. As you all know how to differentiate the function, so you can differentiate like as u by v form. So when you are differentiating u by v form, the denominator is 1 minus t square whole to the power 4, right? Numerator, differentiating the numerator, 2t differentiation is 2, and keeping this denominator as it is here, minus 2 into t, derivative of this denominator, so it is 2 into 1 minus t square, 2 into 1 minus t square into the derivative of 1 minus t square is minus 2t, whatever it may be the expression. Now I want mu2 second moment. This is equal to expectation of x square, which is equal to m double dash at 0. When you are substituting t as 0, 2 into 1 minus 0 square, this is 0, 2 into 1 square is 2, minus 2 into 0, this whole term is going to vanish. So seems to be something like 2 by 1 to the power 4 as, is it 2? Hello?
Yes, sir.
And if you want the variance of capital X is sigma square is equal to, what is the formula? Mu2 minus mu1 square or mu square minus mu square. Mu2 is 2 and mu is 0. 0 square is 0. It results as 2. What is the variance of capital X? So now you are not evaluating expectation of x square as integral x square into fx dx. Remember, you are not evaluating when you want mean integration of something like x into fx. For this x into fx, once you need to integrate. If you want x square into fx, again you have to integrate. As many as higher order moments if you want, then you need to keep on integrate several times. But that integration sometimes is difficult instead of derivative. Therefore, this mt, that is moment generating function, will generate all these higher order moments. Okay, easily.
Excuse me, sir.
Tell me.
Sir, isn't the m dash t we have calculated wrong? Because sir, there should be minus 2t.
Where?
Sir, in m dash t, sir.
Here minus 2t is there, right?
Yes, sir, but you took an extra minus in the beginning. So why did you take that?
Okay, so who is asking this question?
Maulik.
Maulik, right. In order to answer your question, d by d
Okay. Got it, sir. Got it.
1 by x. What is d by dx of 1 by x?
Minus 1 by x square. Okay.
minus
1 by x square.
1 by x square, right?
Okay, sir.
So minus 1 by x square into the derivative of 1 minus t square.
Okay.
What is the derivative of 1 minus t square? Minus 2t. Is it fine?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry.
So this minus into minus plus. Okay, good. Right. So likewise, everyone should ask, even it is a silly, point. If you are asking and clarifying it, you could understand better. Okay. Well, so it's clear, right?
Yes, sir. It's clear now.
Okay, right. So now I would like to, because as you know this formula, I am deleting this. Yeah. In the similar fashion, I differentiated m double dash at t. So is my m double dash at t correct?
Yes, sir.
M double dash at 0?
Yeah, yes, sir. It's correct.
Then variance?
Yes, sir. It's correct only,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, fine. So now actually it is asked only, find the moment generating function. In addition, I explained how to find the moments with the help of a moment generating. Sometimes it may be expected to find moments from the moment generating function. Okay. Then what else extra we need to answer? Characteristic function, right? And find characteristic function. So what is the formula for characteristic function? Now the characteristic function phi x of t is given by expectation of e to the power itx, right? So expectation of e to the power itx, as the variable is defined on a continuous domain. So this seems to be itx fx dx. What is the change you notice now? In place of the scalar t, now you have I times t, right? Hello?
Right, sir.
Yes, sir.
But as already we computed this expression or the integral, and the moment generating function right now is valid for this function or exist for this, e to the power half e to the power minus mod x function. Hence, it is easy to verify that this result is going to be something like 1 over wherever t is there. Now this t I am replacing as it. As I said, this I is the complex conjugate. Then what is this answer? 1 over I square is minus 1 into minus n plus 1 plus t square, right?
T square.
What is pi x of 0?
1, sir.
1, right? Pi dashed of t?
Put upon 1 plus t square whole
2t or minus 2t?
minus 2t.
Minus 2t upon?
1 plus t square to the whole
So
square.
now when t is 0, what is the resulting answer?
0.
0. That is same as this m dash at 0, right?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it? Okay.
Yes, sir. It's the same.
So even if you go for pi x double dash at t, and from that t if you substitute as 0, okay, got it?
Correct, sir.
And taking that real parts, if necessary, you will come to know that mu2 value. Okay. As the integration is evaluated here, I just substituted in the final answer of m of t, t as it. Otherwise, you can evaluate and verify it, okay, at your free time, okay.
How did you say that we'll check the mu2?
You differentiate this one twice.
Just like we did earlier.
Yes. Differentiate once, you will get mu1 as 0, that is mu1 as mu as 0, that you said, okay, minus 2t by 1 plus t square whole square. Then differentiate it once again, that means you are going to get pi x double dash at t and substitute t as 0, okay. From
Okay,
that,
so
take the
fine.
real part, okay. Of course, 1 plus t square at this moment, you don't have imaginary part, so in the subsequent differentiation also, you are not going to get imaginary part, okay. Right?
If there is imaginary part, what do we do?
That's what. So you consider real part, okay.
Okay, after differentiation, we consider the real part.
If yes, if imaginary is involving, let us suppose still it is 1 by 1 plus it square. Every derivative involves your I, right?
So
In that case, after substituting t as 0, you will get some real part as well imaginary part, right?
yes, so
You take into the consideration of real parts for this mu i's, okay.
oh, okay, got it. So now,
Okay, so any other doubt? Suppose if you have a discrete this class, this document will be uploaded, okay. If the data is of discrete type, this kind of example I already explained, right? Hello. Hello. Before the cat itself, a similar kind of example
yes,
is
sir.
explained, and you answered a few questions on this expectation and cat also. Well, so for the same tabulated data, how do you get the moment generating function? Expectation of e raised to tx, right? Isn't it?
Yes, sir. That's how we generate.
Yes. So now expectation of e raised to tx into fx. That means when x is 4, e to the power 4t into 1 by 12 plus e to the power 5t into 1 by 12 plus e to the power 60 into 1 by 4 plus e to the power 70 into 1 by 4 plus e to the power 80 into 1 by 6 plus e to the power 90 into 1 by 6. That's all right. Right? Summation x into e to the power tx into fx. X is varying from 4 to 9. You are going to replace x as these values 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and fx values are given here. You will substitute. Is it understandable, or I have to explain it once?
So you just said this, right? That we do e to the power 4x into 1 by 12 plus e
Right.
to the power 5x. Okay.
5t, because
5t into 1.
tx, x is 4 to 9, right? E to the power x is 4, 4 into t, e to the power 4t into fx value. What is that? Fx 1 by 12. You need not
Oh,
integrate here, right?
right.
E power 4t into 1 by 12 plus e to the power 5t into 1 by 12 plus e to the power 60 into 1 by 4 plus e to the power 70 into 1 by 4 plus e to the power 80 into 1 by 6 plus e to the power 90 into 1 by 6. That will be the moment generating function for this discrete type. Is it quite easy? Hello? For discrete
Yes, sir.
case,
Sounds easy, sir.
this is much easier, right? For discrete case. Okay. But most of the engineering problems, by nature, they are not under discrete case, mostly, because your engineering problems are dynamically varying with respect to the time. Then often involves a continuous random variable. Okay. You may be operating an instrument continuously, right? Whether you are going to operate the instrument hourly and getting the response values, or continuous operation you are getting the response values. Right? Depends on that. You can think whether it is a discrete or continuous. Okay. Got it? Hello?
Yes, I got it.
Okay. So hope you are following it. Well, so with this, can someone summarize what we discussed in the second module? What you learned in the second module? Someone?
So in the second module, we learned about the probability distribution function. We also learned about the marginal distribution function.
Right.
Answer about the expectation and answer covariance, answer mathematical expectation.
Okay. So in mathematical
Answer also
expectation, you learned the
probability.
mean, variance, covariance, correlation, then moment generating function, characteristic function, right?
Yes, sir.
So in probability distribution functions, you also learned joint probability distributions, right?
Yes, sir. Answer
For both the
probability
discrete
density
and
function too.
continuous case, probability, huh?
So
Then
probability density function too.
yes, probability distribution functions for single variable as well for two variables, huh? Two or more variable, that is called giant probabilities, huh? Then followed
Yes,
marginal, as you said, marginal, conditional densities or conditional distributions, right?
yes,
All
sir.
these things you learned, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. Any more doubts on second module? No doubts? Any more doubts? No doubts? Yeah. There
No,
are
sir.
no doubts. Okay. Then second module is ended. Well, you have next class at 11, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Yes, sir.
yeah, if it is free, I may use for lab session, but okay, it's all right. So we will cover it in the next session, the lab. Now we will move on to the third module. What is third module as per our syllabus? What is third module? Correlation and regression.
Sir, correlation.
Regression. So in this module, we are going to learn what is regression and its importance. Okay. And what is the role of correlation in regression? We just learned correlation coefficient, right, in the second module. or in yesterday you learned, right? How to find the correlation for probability distribution functions, right? But third module, you are not going to look in terms of probability distribution functions, where instead you may have tabulated data points. From the tabulated data points, how do we find the regression or correlation, and then what is partial and multiple correlation, multiple linear regression, and so on. These things we are going to learn. So now let me look at one simple example which I wanted to take. So do you have access to look into the COVID data of your locality? Someone? Hello?
No, sir.
In the online, you can access now COVID dot. For 1 week, last 1 week data. Either it is from your locality or from the country's data. Hello?
So like, is there a website where it is
Yes,
available?
website is there now. From that website you can give some values, right? Number of COVID positive cases. Do you have access to give the answer for this by looking into the site? Last 1 week data.
So which website?
The website covid.in. Check once, is it working?
Okay, sure.
India data. COVID-19 India. covid19india.org website. Okay.
Yes, sir. We have state-wise data available.
state wise is available, India wise also is available. Suppose you want the April, there are some graphs. Okay, right?
Yes, sir.
So from the graphs day wise can you get by moving the scales?
Yes, sir. From 31st March to 6th April.
So for us 7 days is enough. Okay, for ease of understanding. Can you give me even for your state or anything, country's data or state data, whichever is even smaller, just to look into some information. So you are going to pick the country data or statewide data? You quickly tell me which state data you want or which country data you want. Let us suppose someone, you should give the answer.
So we can go with country-wise data.
Okay, so now India. So April today, what is the date?
Sir, April 8.
8. So April 1st to April 7, you give me what is the data you have. April 1st, how many cases noticed?
So April 1st, 81,398.
So the data I am taking in terms of thousands. Okay, 81,000 approximately. Okay. Then April 2nd.
So 89,020.
89 approximately. Okay. April 3rd.
So 92,994.
90,900. Approximately 91.
So 92.
Okay,
92,900.
92 approximately. Okay. Then April 4.
So 1 lakh.
1 lakh. Okay. April 5th.
So 96,563.
96. Okay. April 6.
So 1,15,000.
1,15,000 means that 115.
Yes, sir.
April 7.
So 1,26,000.
1,26,000. This is the data that we have approximately for 7 days of data. Now we have only discretized data. So this is day 1, day 2, day 3 to day 7, and this is the respective number of COVID cases which we practically recorded, or maybe which is available in the site, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so with this data, what you wanted to do, you tell me now. What you are expecting from this data for tomorrow's or today's? For what purpose you can use this data now, you tell me. Because they are providing the data, right? Can you guess what are the purposes that you need to make use for this data? Why do we need to record and
So we can estimate the number of cases which can be there in future.
who is saying this answer?
Sir, Abbas, Sayyid Mohammed Abbas.
Abbas, absolutely right answer. You wanted to estimate the future value with the help of the reference data, right? Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So why do we estimate the future value?
So to prepare enough emergency facilities
Yes.
in case of rise.
For preparedness. So for any emergencies, you need to deploy certain infrastructure and other things to facilitate, right? Let us suppose if the number of cases increasing in the same trend, do we have enough doctors to treat the patients? Do we have enough nurses and other medical equipments to meet the necessary demand. Okay. So this kind of analysis should be taken care if you estimate the future value, right? Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand the importance of estimation now? I just pointed out only 1 or 2 points. These are not sufficient. Okay. So we can list as many as points for the importance of a future estimation. It is not only this. If you take the stock market data, so you have some money, you wanted to invest your money in stock points. In which stock you are going to invest? How do you come to know that? Which stock is giving a better return or not? You need to analyze the data, right?
Yes, sir.
So if you wanted to analyze the data, means that in turn forecasting is going to comes into picture. Okay. Whether today is going to rain at 3 o'clock or tomorrow is going to rain, what would be the climatic conditions of tomorrow, right? These are all the things need to be studied. So only with the help of data it is possible. So you need to simulate the data sometimes and then extract the possibly good information from that and analyze and provide the information. Not only this, sometimes the data may be related to the medical data. If a particular patient's BP levels are varying like this, okay, so lowest and maximum values are not recorded. Let us imagine the lowest values are like this. If the BP values are varying like this in a week period, what are the consequences on the patient? To be analyzed, right? Same data, we are looking in different directions, right? Hello? Understood?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now every aspect, the forecasting is required. Let us suppose a small family is having 5 members. So mother will come to know what is the proportion of quantities that need to be added to make a delicious dish for 5 members, right? By chance, on a festive season, so she will come to know that how many number of guests are there. Accordingly, what is the proportion that she has to increase? Without using any formula, she used to calculate and roughly add all the things and make a delicious dish, right? Isn't it? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So people are doing a lot of estimations, forecastings and other things without the constructive formulas. But why do we require the constructive formula? A mathematical formula. Why do we require?
Right.
More accurate. So if you compromise the accuracy, whatever the value you are saying, that is true, right? Based on the guess. Tomorrow maybe something like 135,000, or maybe something like somebody can say that tomorrow, no sir, it may be only less than 100. May be true. But how do we justify that estimation? That is very, very important. Okay. Right. Now, interestingly, what the data you have given to me, you just give me the variable C of as a columnar vector. So 81, 89, 81, 89, you said 92, 100, 96, 115, and then 126 for 7 days of data. This is our plotting, remember. Oh, one value is entered wrongly. 100, 96. This is the data. What did you notice from this? What is the trend? Can you change the type of the plot? Hello, what did you notice in overall?
Increasing trend, sir.
So it is increasing trend, right?
Yes, sir.
So as it is increasing, we can assume that some linear relationship is there, but actually it is not having the exact linear relationship. If you are going with an assumption that there may be a chance of linear relationship of increasing behavior, then such a linear expression, can you give me the linear expression in general, what we consider?
Y equal to mx plus c.
Right, good. So y equal to mx plus c, or in general y equal to ax plus b. Okay, mx plus c is nothing but ax plus b only, right?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so y equal to ax plus b, I can take one expression. So assuming that there may be a relationship between x and y which is linear. If you assume that the relationship is not linear and it may be non-linear, is it the quadratic relationship? Is it having quadratic trend here? Hello? In the overall observation, do you notice that quadratic trend is there or overall increasing behavior is there?
So there's a
As like a
quadratic
linear trend you are noticing, or overall some quadratic trend you are noticing?
Sir, kind of
Like
linear.
so therefore
So
we can go with an assumption, say quadratic is parabolic form, right? So parabolic
Yes.
nature, or maybe like this, is not noticing much. So seems to be something like a straight line trend, upward direction. So I can go with an assumption appropriately, something like, okay. So in this modeling, so I wanted to estimate the future value, say let us suppose 8th day, what would be the expected positive cases. So in this our program, we have a simple syntax. Before that I need to define what is t, the day. So it starts from day 1 and ends at day 7. This is the data. Now there is a linear model. I will tell you what is that linear model. Right now I'm going to use t, your x is approximated with the day. So we have y equal to mx plus c, as you said, there is an intercept c and there is a slope m. Therefore, what is the line you are noticing? Y is equal to mx 6.821 times t plus 72.571. Okay, right? If I want the 8th day data, so I have to replace t as 8, then press enter. Let us look at what is the 8th day data. 8th day likely 127,000 up. By chance, do you have April 8th data in online?
Sir, April 8 is today only, so we cannot have data today.
Right. So we don't have the today's data. Okay, let us suppose with this formula, let we estimate the existing value. Okay, the 7th day data itself. Is it possible for estimation in order to validate our results? 7th day, we have the true value over there. What is y7? 120. What is the true value of y7? 126, right? True value of y7 is 126, but our estimated value using the linear relationship is showing 120. What is the difference now? True value is y minus the estimated value is, or the predicted value is yp. This difference is called the error. Okay, so 126 minus approximately 120 What is the difference? Approximately 6 units of error, right? Hello, in our estimation. Do you
Right,
understand?
sir.
So this is for Y7 case, but Y8, tomorrow you tell me, is the value close to 127 or something else? You yourself check once, okay? Don't forget to check. Right? Now, the tool is giving the solution in fraction of seconds, right? The tomorrow's estimation using linear regression. Now, the meaning here is, as the time is going to up, I would like to quickly finish it in 1-2 minutes. Let us suppose the meaning here is, you are going to draw one straight line like this, okay? If your seventh day point is exactly lying on this regular line, that is called the y is equal to, as you said, mx plus c or ax plus b. Mx plus c. What is the slope? We noticed the slope is 6.821 is a positive slope. When there is a positive slope, so this is going to get x and y correlation will be positive. So means that the both variables are either in the upward direction, that means x increases, y increases, or x decreases, y decreases. Okay, the parallel behavior is there. Well, if you get a negative slope, then line will be like this. Okay, so if you keep on extending this line beyond 7, the corresponding values of estimation you will come to know. So now what is the disadvantage of this estimation is that no longer the same trend may continue. If you extend the line, it goes to infinitely, right? Hello? Infinite value of response value, right? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So do we have infinite number of infections in a day?
No, sir.
So practically, if you are going beyond certain levels of this linear regression, it may give worst solution. Okay. So it is going to be very very good technique when your estimation is as much as close to the given tabulated data points. Okay. Don't go far away to the given tabulated values. That means, x values. If you go beyond the x values, that means far away to the x values, your estimation may be too worst sometimes. It's not always, sometimes. Okay, we should be very cautious. Well, so can I check once similarly what is y2, the true value? And the predicted value. y2 is 86.213. What is the true value? 89. Now the difference 89 and 86 is how much? 3 units of difference, right? Hello? 86 and 89.
Yes, sir.
So means that for some points the deviation may be more, and some points the deviation is less. It is because of this. The line for some points which is close, this point C, this point may be far away to this line, right? The deviation will be more here, whereas here the deviation may be less, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is very, very important. Okay, if the line is not going here, if the line is going down here, the deviation may increase a little bit. Okay, So now the regression, so like this, how many lines I can construct here which is passing through these data points, or maybe on this Euclidean plane, how many lines I can draw? Like this, as many as lines, right?
Yes, sir.
Now which line I treat as a regression line is matters. The line which provides the least amount of residual error. A line which provides the least amount of residual error is called a regression line, or a line which best fit for the linear model of the given tabulated data is called a regression line. Okay, have you understood what is regression now? A regression line is a line that best describes the linear relationship between the two variables and is in general expressed as y equal to a plus bx, where a be the response value when x is 0 and b be the slope of the regression line. Okay, so as I said, the provides the least amount of sum of squares of the vertical distances. So these vertical distances I have shown you here, right? So these are the vertical distances, right? So sum of the squares of these vertical distances is least. That is in turn a least squares technique. That is what this least squares regression line. The method of least squares regression line provides the least amount of the sum of squares of the vertical distances of the data points from the line. So we will discuss these things in the next class. So if you have a regression line of the form y is equal to a plus bx, v is the slope given by this form, sigma y and sigma x, you know, this is standard deviation of the variable y, and this is standard deviation of the variable x, and rho xy is the coefficient of correlation between x and y. As the data seems to be a tabulated data, discretized data, so you are going to use the rho xy formula as sigma xy divided by n minus sigma x by n. What is sigma x by n? Is that the mean of x?
Yes, sir.
Is it sigma y by n? Is it the mean of y?
Yes, sir.
You know in the first module how to find the mean and standard deviations, right?
Yes, sir.
So only those formulas we need to use carefully to get the coefficient of correlation, and then we proceed to estimate this regression line y is equal to a plus bx. Okay, we will discuss this topic in the next class. Okay, the examples related to this. Is it fine?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, good. So the second module content and this introduction will also be uploaded for your reference. Before the next session, you just read out and go through the formulas involved in this 1, 2, 3 slides. Then the example will be discussed in the next session. Okay, right? Right. Thank you. Any more doubts?
No, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
So can I end the session?
Yes, sir.
Right. Thank you.